with cheese. So the last time that I led a practice, it was about taking something that you may or may not do in everyday life and basically breathing some new life into it. So the way I understand relationships and life and intimacy is that we become habituated to each other and to whatever's going on around us. And one of the things that teachers like Sarah and myself can help people do, and basically I'm working on this all the time myself, is to just be aware of how much beauty there is and how much love there is already here, and that I have, out of habit or whatever, have just stopped feeling. So this is what I'm going to suggest here is something you can do with yourself, or you can do with a partner. You can do it with a child. You can do it with a parent. And it just starts by feeling your own body. Like, okay, how am I standing or how am I sitting? I like to make sure that I'm in alignment, so my chin is slightly tucked so that my neck is long, and I can feel this long straight line from the base of my pelvis to the top of my head. So these are things that I like to do. I think they help. But what I'm going to invite you to do can be done anywhere, anyhow. So right now you're going to be doing it with yourself, but imagine that the person you love, your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, as I said, it could be a parent, a child, is in front of you. So ideally, you're looking at them into their left eye. Now, this could happen when you come downstairs and they're in the kitchen. It could happen sitting at the table while you're having lunch or dinner. Just take a moment to look into the other person's left eye. Attend to your own posture, because our posture presents us to the world, and it also allows the world to come to us. So get into this nice, straight, grounded posture, and then roll your shoulders back a little bit. Tucking your chin and rolling your shoulders will help to open up the front of your body. So everything from your throat down to your below your navel will now be a little more open. And that helps other people feel you, and it helps you look more open and receptive. So other people will be more willing to offer their receptivity, their tenderness, their vulnerability. And so now, if you're sitting, or even if you're standing, just turn your palms toward the other person so that that's open to them too. So right now you're open from that eye, the face, the throat, the heart, the belly, your palms. And if you're with somebody else, now I would just invite them to, if they feel comfortable doing it, to just put their hand, to receive your invitation to come closer and to take your hands or your arms. And if you're by yourself, imagine that you're with somebody, but that you're starting with yourself, and so you're gonna touch your cheek. You're just gonna gently feel what it feels like to touch your own cheek. Running it down your jaw. And if you're lucky like me, you've got this big beard you can run your hands through. And then maybe the back of the neck and the shoulder. Just softly touching. Again, if you're doing this by yourself, you're doing this by yourself. But if you're doing it with somebody, you're either inviting them to do this, or you're doing it just gently touching them. back of their head, maybe, their hair, or their baldness, their ear. Our haste gets in the way of actually feeling what's all around us. It actually gets in the way of feeling ourselves. So take time or allow time for the other. Now, I know that in my masculine body, I'm often in a hurry. And this is nowhere more apparent to me than when I start feeling any kind of sexual arousal. So this is a really good practice if you're like me and you're always thinking about the goal. What's the purpose of this? Where's the goal? Like, how soon can we get there? So this is actually about slowing down and feeling all the different parts of our body. And I'd encourage you when you're doing this not to spend too much time on the parts of your body that are particularly arousing. So, for me, that means don't spend a lot of time touching my nipples or my groin or the inside of my thighs. It doesn't mean avoid them. It means just don't make them the focus of the touch. Start to notice what it feels like all over your body when you're touched this way by yourself or by another. And what it feels like to touch somebody else in a way that is not about a goal. Or if there is a goal, it's my own curiosity about what it feels like to touch myself in ways that are not directly about sexual arousal. They're about just feeling myself, getting to know myself, or getting to know the other. I had a colleague, we did a series of shows called I Don't Want to Fuck If I Can't Feel Your Love. And one of her comments was that every interaction with a woman is an opportunity for, in a heterosexual relationship, is an opportunity for a man to explore an unknown land. But most of the time, we're like the conquistadors who came to South America. We're only interested in what we consider to be the gold. And just like the conquistadors, when we're in a hurry to get to what we think is the treasure, we miss so much else. And we also lay waste to the trust and the intimacy that could be there for us, that actually is there for us when we first enter this unknown land. One of my teachers says that when we as masculine identified men have an interest in being sexual with our feminine partners, we need to prepare for 72 hours. So I like to recommend this gentle touching and stroking and getting acquainted practice, especially I'm going to say, I like to recommend it to couples who've been together for a long time, who've forgotten that each other's bodies and each other's beings are actually always, to some extent, unknown to us, and that there's a lot more that we can give if we're allowed to be explored and allowed to be the way we are without there being some kind of rush to discover the treasure. And I was going to say, especially for couples who've been together for a while, but maybe it's especially for couples who first get together, because that's where so much damage is done in our relationships. In my hurry to enjoy and exploit the sexual intimacy that's offered to me in a new relationship I have, without even knowing it, because I thought that they too were interested in this pursuit of treasure. I have closed things off and I didn't know how to open them again. So I feel like that's a big part of where my life is at right now, is learning practices to open doors that have been closed, so that relationships that have gotten dulled or habitual become sources of ongoing curiosity and excitement and pleasure. And that happens in every relationship I'm in. That happens with relationships with the woman I love. It happens with relationships with my mother, my sister, my daughters, my granddaughters, my sons, my men friends. I don't have to go through a process of touching them, but I can slow down and start to see them again for who they are. So for those of us who want more physical intimacy or sexual intimacy, spending time just touching without a goal of getting to the gold, with just the goal of what do your cheeks feel like today? What does your beard feel like today? What does your hair feel like in this moment? And you don't have to spend a lot of time on it, just a couple of minutes, even 15 or 30 seconds, just being totally open with somebody, like physically standing physically or sitting physically open with them and gently touching them or inviting them to gently touch you, will start to soften both of you to be able to experience stuff that maybe you experienced one time early in your relationship, or maybe you've never experienced it. I happen to believe that the longer we are together, the deeper we can go and the more we can experience. So I'm an advocate for going through the hard times, especially the times when there seems to be nothing going on, and taking the time to just sit with that and not be put off by it. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for everybody who's watching this. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a really lovely way to feel, because I was doing it by myself, like into my own body and feel present and grounded and embodied.
Mm.
So thank you for that lovely little gem. And it's really nice to think about doing it with someone, yeah, especially an intimate partner I've known a long time. Curious.
Yeah. Yeah.